Hello, this is Wmpyr. So, over in Japan, I have a friend who is an expert with the Kusari Fundo. The Kusari Fundo it's a chained weapon, and it's made famous by the ninjas over there. It's basically a weight attached to the chain, and he's super into it. And not only is he into it, um, from a historical standpoint, the guy is basically modernized this weapon, and he's thinking about using it for modern day self-defense situations. He's constantly evolving. And anyway, I thought of him when I thought about this movie, and this is a movie that I recommended to him. This is a pretty rare film. I think in the U.S., fortunately, we could find it on like Netflix or on streaming. But it is a 1979 film starring Christopher Plummer from you may have seen him in The Sound of Music, classic movie. He plays Sherlock Holmes, and basically the premise of the story is Jack the Ripper versus Sherlock Holmes. So right there off the bat, you have two big characters going up against each other. So that makes the story pretty interesting, and especially if you're interested in one or the other, either Jack the Ripper or Sherlock Holmes. This is going to be interesting for sure, fascinating. So Jack the Ripper has basically a sword, a hidden sword in his cane. Okay, so during this era, I think that's one very powerful weapon. It definitely probably pushes the line when it comes to legal aspects, but that is one, yeah, serious weapon. If you pull that out in a combat situation in this era in one of these cities, I think you're going to be able to handle a lot of situations. So that's the weapon of Jack the Ripper. And by the way, Cold Steel. I don't know if they still make it, but they made something like this where I believe it. Yeah, it's a cane, and it even has like a skull on the top. And maybe in this movie, Jack the Ripper's sword cane had a skull on the pommel, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe, who knows? Maybe the Cold Steel version is modeled after this one. I don't know. That would be interesting. Very interesting. So, what does Sherlock Holmes have to go up against that? And there's a scene, for me, is a very memorable scene where Dr. Watson says to Holmes, your life could be targeted now. So I mean, your life is in danger. It's on the line now. So um, please carry a weapon. And Holmes says, Watson, I'm not unarmed. And Watson's like, what are you talking about? You never ever carry a weapon. That's what he says to him, right? And Holmes shows him. He goes, no, I am armed. And his scarf. He uses his scarf and he swings it around and he knocks the living crap out of something off the table. He bashes it off the table, whatever it was. And so his scarf is weighted. And so that's also a hidden weapon because it looks like a normal scarf. I think you can see him wearing the scarf in the upper left. I believe that's the same scarf, right? So I told my buddy that basically that's a Kusari Fundo. It's obviously uh, modded, but it's the same idea. And you could create distance with this thing. And it is a weighted object that you're flinging around like a flail. So you could have the distance, but then you could hold it short. And if you hold it short, I mean that's a blackjack. So it could be used, in my opinion, it could be used for close range, or it could be used for further away. And a blackjack is, if you're not familiar, also called a slapjack. You should look it up. Um, it's like a leather pouch kind of thing where you put coins or some type of weight in there, and it's designed to hit someone in the back of the head and you knock them out with it. Brutal weapon. Um, but yeah, so this can be used that way. Is what I'm guessing. You just shorten the grip. It's obvious, right? So then I thought about it. So this is Jack the Ripper's sword cane versus Sherlock Holmes's, this weighted, modded Xarifundo weapon. And very, very fascinating. And it just made me think that, it's a scarf, so he's constantly wearing it. It's always there. It's in disguise, so you can't tell that it's a weapon, but it's easy access. It's right there. It's easy and quick for him to deploy. So maybe it is the ultimate self-defense weapon for this era. So just something interesting to think about. So that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.